I always thought I had it all figured out. I mean, I was doing well in college, had a good group of friends, and, most importantly, I was with Jake. He was the guy everyone admired, charismatic, funny, always the center of attention. When we met at that party during freshman year, it felt like destiny. We clicked right away. For the first time in a long time, I felt like I had found someone I could trust, someone who truly understood me. Our relationship started off like a fairy tale. We spent weekends talking about our future, grabbing coffee, or just enjoying each other's company. It was effortless. Jake made me feel special, like I was the most important person in his world. But slowly, things started to change. At first, it was subtle. Little things like him not answering texts as quickly or not showing up when we planned to hang out. I kept telling myself it was nothing. He was just busy with school, right? It was all in my head. But deep down, I knew something wasn't right. Then, one night, everything came crashing down. It was Friday night, and we were supposed to go out for dinner. I texted Jake around 6 p.m., asking if we were still on. No reply. I waited an hour, then 2, but still nothing. My stomach dropped. I tried calling him. No answer. By 8, I was on edge. What was going on? I couldn't sit around waiting anymore. Something didn't feel right, and I had to know what was happening. So, I grabbed my keys, got in the car, and drove straight to his apartment. His car was parked outside, but there was no sign of him. I knocked on the door, nothing. I called again, nothing. Panic started setting in. Then, I did something I didn't think I would ever do. I texted Chris, one of Jake's close friends. Do you know where Jake is? The reply came quickly. He's at the bar with Sarah. Sarah. That name hit me like a ton of bricks. I had always trusted Sarah. She was his coworker, his friend. But now, my stomach twisted. Why was he at the bar with her? Had something been going on behind my back? I didn't know what to think, but I knew I had to find out. That I couldn't wait for him to explain himself anymore. So, I drove to the bar. When I pulled into the parking lot, I could see Jake's car. I felt my heart racing. The bar was crowded, but my eyes immediately locked onto them. There they were, Jake and Sarah, sitting close, laughing, their faces almost touching. I could feel my blood boil. I froze for a second, watching them. It wasn't just the closeness, it was the way they looked at each other, the way they leaned in, whispering in each other's ears. Sarah's hand was on his leg, and I could see it in their eyes. They were more than friends. The truth hit me like a freight train that I wasn't going to just walk away and pretend I didn't see this. I couldn't. I walked into the bar, calm on the outside but seething on the inside. I didn't want to cause a scene, but I needed to confront them. I walked up to the bar and ordered a drink, trying to steady my nerves. I could still see them from where I sat, oblivious to my presence. I knew I couldn't leave. I couldn't just act like nothing was wrong. A few minutes later, Jake turned and spotted me across the room. His face went pale when our eyes met, but he quickly looked away, trying to act like everything was fine. But it was too late. I had already seen everything I needed to see. The guilt in his eyes, the way he tried to cover up his shame, it was clear as day. He knew exactly what he was doing, and he didn't care. I stood up, walked straight over to their table, and said, as calmly as I could, Jake, we need to talk. He jumped up, his face going white. Ava, it's not what you think. Don't, I cut him off, my voice ice cold. I saw enough. I know what's going on. I turned to Sarah, my gaze hardening. And you? You knew I was with him. You knew we were together, and you still went behind my back. That's not just messed up, that's low. Sarah tried to stutter out an apology, but I wasn't listening anymore. I don't want to hear it, I said, turning back to Jake. You've lost me. Jake reached out, trying to grab my arm, but I yanked it away. Don't touch me. This is over. I turned on my heel and walked out of the bar, my heart pounding in my chest. I wasn't crying. I wasn't screaming. I just walked away, holding my head high, determined not to let him see me break. As I drove home, though, I couldn't stop the flood of thoughts rushing through my mind. How had I not seen the signs? How had I ignored all the little things that didn't add up? I had been so blinded by my feelings for Jake that I had missed the truth. but now it was too late. The relationship was over, and I wasn't going to waste another minute on someone who didn't value me. Over the next few days, Jake sent me text after text, begging for forgiveness, apologizing, saying he didn't mean it. He showed up at my door, sent flowers, and called constantly. But I didn't respond. I couldn't. I had already made up my mind. He wasn't worth my time anymore. Then, 2 weeks later, I got a text from Sarah. It was short, just a few lines, but it stung. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean for this to happen. But you deserve better. At first, I wanted to lash out, to tell her exactly what I thought of her. But I didn't. I took a deep breath and replied, "Thank you." I had learned a valuable lesson. Betrayal wasn't just about one person hurting the other. It was about realizing my own worth and not letting someone else's mistakes define me. I wasn't going to let Jake's actions define me anymore. A few months later, I was in a better place. I had moved on, met new people, and started to heal. And that's when I found out, karma had already done its job. Jake and Sarah had tried to make it work for a while, but it didn't last. Jake ended up cheating on Sarah with another girl, and Sarah, heartbroken, ended things with him. I smiled to myself. Sometimes, life takes its time, but it always balances out in the end.